You're at a wedding. The bride walks in, and you, a grown adult who owes her nothing, start crying. Not sad crying. You're happy, genuinely thrilled, and your face is doing this anyway. Or your dog runs to the door when you get home, and you tear up over a literal dog being a literal dog. Or you watch a stranger get a surprise reunion video, and you're suddenly sobbing on your own couch, alone, for someone you've never met. Your body looks at pure joy and goes, "Yep, time for the waterworks." Exact same tool as grief, no notes. This has a name, and it's not your body malfunctioning. Scientists call it a dimorphous expression of emotion, when one feeling spills out looking like its opposite. Crying isn't actually wired to sadness, it's wired to emotional intensity in either direction. 300,000 years ago, overwhelming emotion meant something big was happening. A birth, a reunion after danger, a narrow escape. Your body needed a fast way to signal, "This matters enormously," to everyone nearby, without needing words. Tears are loud, visible, and impossible to fake convincingly. That made them a remarkably honest signal. Basically, your ancestors invented emotional Wi-Fi. Tears were just the loading icon. Even infants who can't speak a single word use tears as their very first communication system. Pure signal, no language required. That early wiring never gets replaced. It just gets more triggers added on top of it as you grow up and your emotional world gets more complicated. This wiring shaped entire cultures. Nearly every human society developed rituals built specifically around shared, overwhelming emotion. Funeral wailing rituals, wedding ceremonies built around tears of joy, birth celebrations loud enough for the whole camp to hear. Anthropologists believe these rituals existed because shared overwhelming emotion strengthens group bonds faster than almost anything else. Which means your great-great-great-grandparent who cried at someone else's wedding wasn't being dramatic. They were doing valuable social labor. Some researchers argue this is also why we developed music, dance, and storytelling, all reliable ways to trigger this exact same overflow on purpose. Some cultures have words for this feeling that English simply doesn't have. A precise, specific term for joy so intense it physically hurts a little. Japanese has a concept around bittersweet, fleeting beauty, the awareness that a perfect moment is already ending as you experience it. Portuguese has a related idea, a longing for something or someone that may never fully return, sitting right alongside the joy of having had it at all. English just has happy tears, which honestly undersells the whole experience by a significant margin. The feeling is universal, the vocabulary for it is not, which might be part of why it catches you off guard. You've felt it 1,000 times without ever having quite the right word. Here's the mechanism. Your limbic system, the part of your brain handling emotion, doesn't have separate volume dials for joy and grief. It has one dial, intensity. Turn it up far enough, in any direction, and the same overflow response fires. Researchers believe crying at happy moments is your nervous system's way of self-regulating, cooling down an emotional spike before it overwhelms you. Your body looked at pure joy, panicked slightly at how much joy, and hit the emergency release valve. This is sometimes called emotional homeostasis, your body pulling itself back toward balance after any big swing. Which means the tears at your friend's wedding weren't really about the wedding. They were about your nervous system frantically trying to stay level. This overflow response also explains nervous laughter at funerals, or someone laughing right after narrowly avoiding a car accident. Your body genuinely does not care which direction the emotion came from. It just knows the dial went too far and something has to come out. Some moments make this overflow far more likely than others. Relief is one of the biggest triggers. That's why you might stay completely composed through a stressful event and only cry once it's actually over and safe. You can survive the entire emergency with a completely dry face. The second it's safe, your body cashes in every tear it was owed. Pride works the same way. Watching someone you love succeed at something hard can trigger the exact same overflow. So does nostalgia, a song, a smell, an old photo suddenly hitting you with the full weight of a memory. Gratitude is another major one, realizing, often years later, exactly how much someone sacrificed for you without ever mentioning it. Forgiveness and reconciliation moments hit hard too. The release of a grudge you'd been carrying turns out to feel a lot like relief. Nostalgia is just your brain replaying old footage at full emotional volume with zero warning. Awe does it too. Standing somewhere vast, the ocean, a mountain range, a night sky full of stars, can trigger the exact same overflow. There's a whole category of things specifically engineered to do this to you. Dog reunion videos. You don't know the dog. You don't know the owner. You are sobbing regardless. The first 5 minutes of that one Pixar movie about the house and the balloons. You know the one. You're already tearing up just reading this. Olympic athletes hearing their national anthem play after winning. You have no connection to this country. You are still gone. Proposal videos in public. Surprise homecoming videos. Any video where a soldier in uniform hugs a kid. You are simply not built to survive these. Marketers figured this out decades ago. Half of insurance commercials are just engineered tear bait with a logo at the end. Graduation photos of kids you've never met, posted by strangers on the internet, somehow get you too. There is no escape. There was never any escape. Talent show contestants who clearly didn't expect to make it this far, finding out they made it this far. You weren't ready. Nobody warned you. A parent in the crowd at their kid's recital, mouthing every single word, visibly more nervous than the kid is. You see this and you're instantly finished. Old couples celebrating a 50th anniversary, still holding hands. You don't even need context. The hands alone get you. Someone finally getting the news that the test came back clear. You don't know them. You will never know them. You are still completely undone. Not everyone gets hit by this equally. Some people tear up constantly. Others almost never do, even at the same moments. Research links this partly to empathy levels. People who score higher on empathy measures report more frequent positive tears. Culture plays a role too. Some cultures actively encourage emotional expression at big moments. Others train people to suppress it from childhood, which is why one person at a wedding is sobbing into a napkin and the person next to them is just clapping politely like this is a quarterly meeting. Neither response is wrong. It's the same nervous system tuned to a different sensitivity. Hormones shift this sensitivity too, which is part of why the same person might tear up easily at one stage of life and barely at another. Socialization plays a role too. Many people are explicitly taught from childhood which emotions are acceptable to show and which ones to swallow. None of this means anyone is more or less emotional deep down. It often just means the release valve was trained to open more or less easily. So, what's physically happening when the tears actually start? Your autonomic nervous system briefly loses its grip on emotional regulation, flooded by too much signal at once. Your tear ducts are triggered by the same parasympathetic activation that handles rest, digestion, and recovery, not just sadness. Your body's "everything is fine, you can relax now" system and your "everything is overwhelming" system share a doorbell. They both keep ringing it. That's also why happy crying often comes with a small laugh attached. Two systems firing close together, both demanding an exit at once. Your heart rate often spikes in the same moment, and some people report a brief tightness in the throat, the same physical signature as crying from sadness, just a different trigger. Even your skin can react. Many people get goosebumps in the same moment, a separate ancient reflex piggybacking on the same emotional spike. This phenomenon wasn't formally studied until surprisingly recently. For most of history, it was just dismissed as people being overly emotional. Serious research into positive tears only picked up in the late 20th century, once psychologists started questioning why crying wasn't exclusively tied to distress. Researchers have since cataloged dozens of distinct triggers for positive tears: reunion, relief, pride, awe, nostalgia, even extreme aesthetic beauty. Turns out, scientists needed decades of funding to officially confirm what every wedding guest already knew instinctively. And here's a genuine surprise. Humans appear to be the only animal that produces actual emotional tears at all, happy or sad. Animals absolutely show overwhelming joy. Dogs spinning in circles, dolphins leaping, elephants rumbling loudly at a reunion. They just don't cry about it. Which means somewhere in evolution, humans specifically unlocked the achievement of crying at golden retriever reunion videos. No other species qualifies. Some researchers think this links directly back to human social complexity. Our reunions, bonds, and group structures simply demand a stronger signal than other species need. For most people, this is occasional, tied to genuinely big, rare moments. If crying, happy or otherwise, starts happening constantly, disproportionately, or hard to control, that can be worth mentioning to a doctor. Certain neurological and hormonal conditions can affect emotional regulation directly. It's not something to just push through alone. That's a different conversation from ordinary happy tears at a wedding, and it deserves real attention, not a shrug or a joke. Not every researcher agrees on exactly why this overflow happens. There are actually a few competing explanations worth knowing. The homeostasis theory says it's purely about restoring balance after an emotional spike, regardless of the social context. The social signaling theory says it's specifically about communicating vulnerability and sincerity to others nearby. Tears as proof you mean it. And the cognitive appraisal theory says it's about your brain rapidly reassessing a situation as more significant than initially expected, triggering a delayed reaction. The honest answer is probably all three are happening at once, which is a very scientific way of saying nobody fully knows, but everyone agrees it's real. For the everyday version, the one almost everyone gets at weddings, reunions, and dog videos, there's nothing to fix. Crying at joy isn't your body confusing happy for sad. It's your body telling you something matters more than it can hold quietly. So next time you're sobbing at a stranger's dog reunion video at 1 a.m. for absolutely no personal reason, just know that's 300,000 years of finely tuned biology reacting exactly as designed to a golden retriever. You're not broken. You're not oversensitive. You're not too much. You're just a very old emotional system doing its best, with genuinely no separate setting for this is good, actually. So cry at the wedding. Cry at the dog. Cry at the anthem for a country that isn't yours. Your ancestors would be proud, mostly confused by the Olympics, but proud. Cry at the recital. Cry at the anniversary couple holding hands. Cry at the dolphin video, even though we just established dolphins don't even cry back. Every single one of those tears is the same ancient system, still running, still doing exactly the job it was built for.